Hello and welcome to a new episode of Vedic Spirituality. I'm your host, my name is Madan Gopal Das, and on this channel we are talking about Vedic culture, Vedic spirituality, Vedic philosophy, and how to become happy in life. Now in the beginning of the channel we have this series of random talks where I just speak something from the top of my mind. And in today's video, I will talk about history or our past. For me that is a very important topic because the questions about our past and our ancestry is one question that led me to spiritual life. Because when I was young, I was like 16, 17, 18 years old, I was listening to Bob Marley. I had all his albums, I knew practically all of his songs. And I not just listened it superficially, but I really was diving deep into his lyrics and trying to understand what he's trying to say, and I took it very seriously. And the mood I could perceive from him was like back to the roots, because like Bob Marley, he grew up in Jamaica among the black people of Jamaica, though his father was British, therefore his name is Marley. And also if you see his nose is like very sharp, western type nose. So he's actually a mulat. I don't know the English exact word. In German it's mulat. It means his father is a European white man and his mother is a black African woman. But he grew up among his family. I mean among his mother's family, and in his songs, the topic of slavery is a lot there. There is songs like "Catch a Fire." It was his first international album. He's saying "Catch a fire, the table is turned now, slave driver," and when I hear the whips, the sound of the whip, my blood runs cold. Like I remember the time on the slave ship when they brutalized our very soul, like that. Or also his redemption song on his second last album, or the last album was which was released while he was alive. Redemption song, where he's saying, "All pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships, and minutes after they took I from the bottomless pits." Like he's telling the story of his people, how they were taken from Africa, sold to the slave merchants, and they were brought to the hellish condition of slave works on the Jamaican or American fields. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty, so we forward in this generation triumphantly. So but now the table has turned and now we black people, we are marching forward and going back to our roots, back to Africa. We are connecting back with our ancestry and our holy land, which is Africa, and like that. So this is what Bob Marley is dealing with. This is like his mentality, or how you say, his ideology. So then I started to ask myself, I mean, I'm obviously not black. I'm born in Europe, my parents both are Swiss, and I was thinking myself, what is my roots? Where are we have to go back? What is our holy land, so to say, or what is our? And I thinking like that, um, I considered that we are coming from the Celtic people, or the, yeah, like our society, where we came from where we were taken away, as the black people from Africa were taken away by the slave drivers, by the merchant ships, taken out from the real culture, stolen from there and putting away. We were taken away from our real culture by the Romans. I mean, Europe was, according to the official history, I don't know whether it's true or not nowadays, what can you believe, but anyway, just keep it like this for the sake of this video, that we had our culture in Europe with the Druids as the spiritual leaders, and not much known is, like, nowadays we cannot get nice informations about this culture, what actually was taught there, what was lived, how they lived and whatever. But we were taken from this Celtic culture. It was destroyed, or we were taken away from that by the Roman Roman invaders, so to say. So this was my thought process. So then I was thinking, our real roots and where we should go back, this is this culture, which was before we were superimposed a new artificial culture, which is the Roman culture, so to say. And I think nowadays still the whole Western world is ruled by Roman laws and whatnot. Anyway, we're not getting into that. We can talk about today's system and what's wrong with it and where it's coming from and who is behind it. We can talk about this in other videos, but not today. But basically, I had the desire to know what is the original spiritual teachings, or essence of life or way of life from before that. And I can remember that one time I woke up, I took my shower, I was ready for going to school, and I had like this intense calling in my heart, and I was thinking, there must be a book which contains the pure knowledge of the Druids. There must be a book that contains it. I mean, I tried to get some informations, but I mean the general history books and what they say about this culture is really vague, and you not get any tangible spiritual values from that. So I was thinking there must be a book which really uncensored, unchanged, where you can get the pure knowledge of our original culture. And and few days later, 1 to 3 weeks later, we went with the school to another city to go to a museum, and there in the street, anyway, I saw a man selling books, and I just was like a magnet. I was attracted to that. He was talking with another man still, so I just waited until that was finished, and I took from him the books, and it was the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, 2 books from the Vedic scriptures. And I read the first sentence of this Bhagavad Gita. I knew that this is the book I was looking for. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is our original knowledge. And since then, I never read basically another book than that. Of course, now I'm reading due to other reasons, to learn other things. But I mean, this was for me the thing. So therefore, I said that history, for me, the question about our history was a big influence, or for my spiritual journey, and therefore I'm very interested also in that. And later on, by studying the Vedic scriptures, and also then meeting with other people who are studying and learn from them, and then finally also meet my spiritual master in India and hear from him, I now have a quite broader understanding of human history and what is our original culture and where we come from and where we should go back to. And yeah, similar, I'm still feel for Bob Marley and his message, and I still feel for that. Like, we had an original culture, we that was a peaceful culture, was God conscious, spiritual culture of mutual respect, and where everyone is can grow and is not suppressed. And we were taken away from that by some bad influence. But now we are again going back to that. So this is basically what my life is about. This is like the essence of my seeking, the essence of my of my purpose, so to say. Therefore I so much also resonated with it. And until now, so now from the Vedic scriptures, we can understand that there was a time where a whole world was ruled under one emperor. Many kings, of course, always there are many kings, but one emperor, and he followed completely Vedic culture, spiritual culture. He was himself a very realized, high consciousness, self-realized soul, and he led the whole world under that spiritual paradigm. And and basically at that time there was because the humans were living in harmony with nature, everything was more opulent. There was enough riches coming from nature in forms of gold, jewels, food, strong rivers with energized water that grows wonderful crops that are healthy. The people were healthy and intelligent and strong and spiritual minded, everyone. And this was due to the influence of the emperor who ruled the whole world and who followed the Vedic culture. And due to the influence of the time, because time always brings decay, there is this deteriorated with the time. In the Vedic understanding, the time is not linear, but it is circular. It always repeats itself. And there are 4 cycles, major cycles. The Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. There are also some Sanskrit expressions for this. There's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And you know, all 4, the quality of life reduces from 1 to 1, and more bad habits enter the human society. And basically 5,000 years ago we entered into the Kali Yuga, the worst of the 4. And before that, actually at that time when this Kali Yuga started, the Vedic knowledge was compiled into the Vedic scriptures as we know them now. Before they were only orally given from one to another, because the people that time were still sharp enough, the memory was pure enough, their habits were pure enough to sustain a good memory and clear thinking, that it was not needed to write it down. But it was written down 5,000 years ago, and at that time also the history of the Mahabharata, this is a big epic, was actually that incident was happening with this big war was there, and that time the last emperor was installed and he ruled nicely the world, and after him, slowly the deterioration started. and and then the history of the Kali Yuga started. Then these different types of civilizations, the Babylonians, the Egypts, the Aztecs, and all these different, they started to rise up and become independent and war each other and whatever and like that. But basically, what's the point of this video is actually that whatever culture is on this world, its root is in the Vedic culture, because thousand and thousand years ago, before the things started to separate and became independent and started to fight each other, everything was ruled under one emperor, and everything was following this Vedic culture and the spiritual principles of it. And yeah, and that was, so to say, my quest for truth. I found the answer and I'm very satisfied due to that. About more details about from Vedic history and how the human society lived before and how it developed to the point of now. That is not a small topic, and it will need also more research. I cannot just talk about it from the top of my mind. I would have to make notes and check dates and everything. So this is not part of this video, but just basically just the concept I would like to share. Just repeat from that there was an original culture from whom we were taken away by a bad influence. It might be just a time, or it might be really an evil dynasty or whatever, who came and took us away from a spiritual living to a materialistic living and brainwashed us in such a way that we are like we are now. And that I personally have the desire, and I hope many people will have also the desire, to go back to the roots. Yeah. So this is, the video is about, this is the topic for today. It's a little bit late, so I'm a little bit tired, and therefore also my sentences may not be so that clear, but I'm very glad to share this with you. And if you like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give a thumbs up. It will encourage me to continue my journey on the YouTube. I'm planning, as soon as I have more free time, to make better videos, to have some cutting, have a better audio. I'm looking for audio gear at the moment. I have a better video, of course, also, and I am excited to get started for more quality videos with more research to the point topics. But for now, this is I feel quite great about just have a random talk from the top of my mind. Okay, thank you for listening. See you soon.